Samsung Galaxy Unpacked for August has been announced. August the 10th will be the day we find out about both the Z Flip 4 and the Z Fold 4. And hopefully they're probably dropping the Z at this point, just calling it the Fold 4 and the Flip 4. But they do have that blind pre-order thing now open that you don't know the price, you don't know the spec, heck, you don't even know what it looks like, but please pre-order one of our products, which I can. If you know you get one anyway, the leaks have been pretty thorough, which is what we're going to talk about here today. And to me, when I looked at it, I've seen it from a few different places, so I'm figuring it's relatively reliable. I'm going to go over the changes that I saw from the Flip 3 and then the changes that I saw from the Fold 3. Let's start with the Flip 3 to the Flip 4. Not a massive redesign. I knew there was a lot of concept art out there and a lot of rumors that they were going to completely change the outer display area here, but it looks like in the leaked images of the advertising material, they left it roughly the same. In fact, even the colors, I believe, are roughly the same. The lavender one looks exactly like it did a year ago with the two cameras. A slightly larger outer display. I think this is 1.9 inches, and I believe the leak was 2.1 inches or something like that. Does it make it like the Motorola or the Razr rather, where you could do some light messaging on the outside? No, it does make it a little bit better, which is nice, but not something to where you're going to do anything more than just kind of flicking through messages and widgets that they added to the outer display. The other dimensions seem relatively the same. They may have done some work to the hinge to make it slightly robust. I'm sure they're going to announce a bunch of upgrades to the under display glass, the ultra thin glass. I'm sure they're going to have the crease be a little bit better. Whatever they do year over year, that'll be just fine. The other thing that was rumored was a slightly larger battery, 400 milliamp hours larger, going from 3300 on the Flip 3 to 3700 on the Flip 4. And that's really where you'd want it. The disappointing part was that they went with the Snapdragon Gen 8 Mark 1, whatever. The Plus, though. So I've had a bunch of people in the comments say, oh, the Plus is completely different from the regular one. There's this new process, TSMC, something like that, that completely saves battery life, and everything should be good now. And you pair that with a slightly larger battery, and everything should be fine. We won't see those battery woes that we saw on the Flip 3. I've heard that for several years now with Snapdragon chips. I'll believe it when I see it. When you get me a device that can last long, doesn't battery drain, doesn't overheat, and all the rest of it, then I'll believe that the Snapdragon process has changed significantly to the point where we could get decent battery life on these devices. But if you could get, even with just that battery increase, a slightly larger battery that they put in the Flip 4, if you could get this from the 3.5, 4 hours that it was at its peak to 4.5, heaven forbid, 5 hours, then I think you're really into it for a category killer and something that could really go after the iPhone, because I've seen these out in the wild. Okay, I don't see a lot of Pixels out in the wild. I don't see a lot of Folds out in the wild. I've seen these. This has become a status device. Something that's just, if you're looking for something fashion, fun, whatever it is, that you could pair normally to an iPhone in that kind of category. I've seen people with Flip 3s, and that's important. The advertising and the people who they use to advertise it and the celebrities that they put this in the hands of, that's kind of giving you an indication of where they're going with the market for the Flip 3 or the Flip series in general. They want this to be a mass market device, and the fact that they could get it under $1,000, it's foldable, which is cool, harkens back to the flip phone days, which is also cool. Nostalgia always sells, and they can add some battery life to that. I think they actually have a winner. Is it worth upgrading if you have a 3 to a 4? Geez, they'd have to do a lot of work there. I don't think so, especially if the design, if it comes out and they show it and it's relatively the same, and they give you that slight battery upgrade, that's a personal decision that you're going to have to make. If you're coming from an original or a 5G, absolutely. Now's the time to jump in, because I think you're going to see a huge difference from those two devices. But let me know down below in the comment section what would get you or motivate you to upgrade from a 3 to a 4 if that's really all that they were updating. And we could talk about I have my Fold 2 here, which I still love. I saw those leaks for the Fold 4, and it's similar to the Fold 3. And by the way, when we're talking about major redesigns, I didn't think that was realistic. They just did a major redesign last year. Those don't happen every year. That takes a lot of time. That takes a lot of research and development, a lot of money. When they come out with a new design, typically they like to get at least a couple of years out of the form factor before they do a major overhaul again. That's why when you saw, it was kind of rare, I thought, to go from the Fold 1, which needed desperately a major overhaul, which was the Fold 2, but then they kind of overhauled it again for the Fold 3. So with the Fold 4 leaks and rumors look pretty similar to the Fold 3. The disappointing thing that I saw on the Fold 4 specs were the fact that they made it lighter. Yeah, okay, that's great. I mean, how light does the thing need to be when it's a phone this size? It's always so light you can make it before it just becomes like, why even bother with that? The other thing that the dimensions are relatively the same. You know, they made the inside aspect ratio a little bit wider for stuff. That's fine. That helps a little bit. I thought that would make this outer display a little bit wider. Perhaps they made it a touch wider, like if you see on the Fold 2. I think just maybe where the metal band is a little bit of extra screen, which absolutely would help. That's something that I want to see. You need a bigger outer display. And the disappointing thing was, it seems like they focused on the camera, because that's what everybody had a big uproar about. Oh, the Fold series needs a flagship level camera. My Fold 2 takes excellent photos. I don't know what people are talking about with this flagship, but we worried about that too much. So they got rid of these sensors that they used on the Fold 3, and they put in the 50 megapixel and this to improve the camera. And I guarantee when they sit there with the presentation, we're going to have to sit through 15 minutes of them talking about the camera, because that's all people harped on. Not every device has to have an excellent top-of-the-line camera. Some devices are made for different things. There are so many other features that you could lean into on a phablet type device, basically a tablet phone, folding device, that are a lot more useful to the day-to-day tasks that you do on something like this than the camera. It's wonky to take photos on this thing anyway. Either you open it up and doing that. I mean, the large view screen is nice, but you're kind of doing this, or you're doing this with the fold thing, or you got it closed and you're doing it. I mean, come on. There are more important other features that people could cry about, that's what they work on, but that's what everybody cares about. You use it 5% of the time, and it gets 100% of the attention. To take your Starbucks little photo, your Instagram, it'll take the Hello Kitty photo there. Photos are important, I know, but this wasn't exactly a potato, okay? It did really well. In fact, it went pound for pound with my S21 Ultra, which everybody crowed about, camera-wise. No issues. It comes down to preference at that point. But anyway, if that's something that interests you, if you're into that flagship camera, if the Fold was a huge disappointment for you on the camera side, then the Fold 4 might be for you. I love this design. I think this is a classic design. I think it still looks great. The frosted back still functions fantastic. I love the camera array the way it is. They've really kind of gone for that, you know, just getting rid of the bump basically and just making it the 3 lenses. They're leaning into that. Looks okay. I know it's time to upgrade my Fold 2, but I don't know what's really motivating me to do so. If the outer display, I have to go look at it probably. If the outer display is that much bigger, or if it does give me that full bar, that full little bit of a few millimeters, we're not talking about a lot here, a few millimeters, then that's something that I'd be excited about and at least want to give the Fold 4 a shot. But otherwise, these things are still running well. I may get a Flip 4 because I want that extra battery life, and I want the other hinge improvements and stuff that they might come up with, but otherwise, you got to tell me what down below what would motivate you. And the disappointing thing is that I understand they weren't going to redesign it for a 3rd year in a row for the Fold 4, but next year for the Fold 5, Samsung's got to come out swinging. There are plenty of other examples now with the Vivo device. That Vivo Fold, X Fold, whatever it's called, that is the perfect folding device. Fantastic outer display that's the size of a regular phone that you'd use. And it's nice and compact, and it opens up to this nice wide display without a lot of crease. That is the best of both worlds. That's where we could be, especially with what Samsung charges for these devices. But still, we're here in this world where we have a very narrow outer display, and the inner display aspect ratio is only good for some things. Hopefully Samsung wakes up. Like I said, it's unrealistic to expect them to redesign it 3 years in a row. But other phone companies are out there swinging. They're just not here in the United States. But I want to know down below what it'll take from the Galaxy Unpacked event to get you excited about upgrading from either the Flip 3 or the Fold 3, I guess, if you're upgrading from that, or a 2. If you got one of the other generations, if you got an OG Flip with the 5G or something like that, if you're not willing to upgrade, or if you what do you need to upgrade, let me know down below in the comment section. If you made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, it was a collaboration. Pusheen and Hello Kitty collaboration. How could you beat that? Have that Steve-alicious day.